So I just wanted to come on here and do a quick little video about something that I saw recently on Twitter, just as further vindication of my decision not to get too involved in the whole Kavanaugh discussion that's going on right now, and just to show how pretty much everybody on, frankly, both sides of the debate are just disgusting and awful and horrible human beings. So if I hop over to Twitter, there's this post by a woman named Sophie Vershbow, just loudly chanting out, do not fuck men who support Kavanaugh over and over and over again. Now, I don't think I need to tell you why this is a pretty vulgar, horrible thing to say. It should be pretty self-evident, if for no other reason than, she's dictating to other people what their sexual preferences should be and trying to shame people, and as I said in my last video, effectively rendering them as handmaids. They're not the right type of women. They don't have the proper opinions or think correctly. Now, I don't agree with this at all, but I want to be at least a little bit charitable here. Now, I don't know who this person is. I don't know Sophie Vershbow from Eve, so I don't want to project my own views onto her and what she's thinking. If I were to be generous, I would say that she's probably just venting her own frustrations in what's frankly a very terrible way. I try to go out of my way not to post negative crap like this on my social media, even in my personal accounts outside of my character. I don't do that either, because frankly this is just terrible fucking optics. I mean, the fact that the internet is forever, someone like me, for instance, can come along and just grab this and it's going to be essentially archived for everybody to see forever, and you're going to get so much hate in response for that, and it's against the laws of power to associate with negative people. So just the frankly, I'm baffled and speechless by this, and just the poor decision making that went into it. I mean, you can see her profile. Again, I don't know this person. She might be a very wonderful person for all I know, but just, again, the bad optics. I mean, why would you choose this, of all things, as your profile picture with these crazy eyes and this sadistic looking smile? Again, I don't want to poison the well and say that she's a horrible person. It just looks really, really bad. Now, unfortunately, the responses to her have not been particularly kind either. They haven't been very, they've sort of been playing in the weeds at her level rather than trying to ascend above it. So, for instance, a lot of people have been making this sort of comment saying, hey, Random House, is this acceptable dialogue for your social media director? Essentially, what I think they're getting at is they want Random House to fire her over the public, these public statements that she's been making. And I simply wrote back, I don't like or agree with what this person is saying, but I also don't want to live in a world where people get fired for expressing their opinions on their own time. Food for thought. Hashtag it's okay to be human. And you just go through the comments on this one tweet here, and it's just more shit like this. Now, again, I get why people are angry about this. If I'm being perfectly honest, I'm angry about this as well. I don't think it's fair for her to go and make such a blanket, generalized statement and condemn everyone in a very collectivist manner like this. I'm an individualist. I treat people as individuals, and I encourage other people to treat people as individuals. Hate the sin, not the sinner, as the saying goes. I don't have to like this. I condemn and disavow this type of rhetoric very strongly, But I also condemn and disavow this type of rhetoric very strongly as well, because it's the type of thing where if you create a precedent for this, it's just going to be used against you, and you should judge other people the way that you want to be judged and create rules and values and customs that if they were to be applied to you, you would be willing and accepting of them. So if I were to go on to her profile here real quick, you'll notice that she's actually taken down her her reference to Random House. A couple people had screen capped that before. But notice over here at the very end it says opinions all my own. Now, I could do a whole video rant on the types of ridiculous things that people put in their profile pictures, but at least in this case, the fact that she's coming out and saying these are her opinions and she doesn't speak for Random House, I think we should at least take that into account. So all these people that are calling for her to essentially be fired over this, and I fully predict that she probably will get fired over this because Random House is not going to want to take responsibility for the shit that she says, and that's their right. They have the right to fire her. I just don't think it's a good precedent that should be set. We saw that with Roseanne, we saw that with Kathy Griffin. It's not a partisan thing, it's happening on both sides, and I really think we should just be better than that. It shouldn't have to be said that one's opinions on their personal social media accounts are their own, and what they do on their own time shouldn't affect what they do at their job. Obviously there are exceptions to that rule. If you make some sort of violent threat to people, if you're engaged in criminal activity, by all means, that can be weighed into the decision because that can affect you in a professional sense. But again, I think people are being overly harsh with this, and the internet and our culture at the moment has become a very unforgiving place. So I guess what I'm doing is calling for people to be better and to be more willing to be open-minded and forgiving, not just on one side, but on both sides.